Russia has ruled out any peace talks with Ukraine, and this comes amid Kiev raising pressure on the Kremlin by claiming fresh advances in its offensive into Russian territory. President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Ukraine now controls over 1,250 square kilometers and 92 settlements in the Kursk region.
Ukrainian warriors continue the defensive operation in the designated areas of the Kursk region. As of today, our forces control more than 1,250 square kilometers of enemy territory and 92 settlements. We continue to strengthen our positions, stabilize designated areas, and, what is very important, replenish the exchange fund for Ukraine.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky further added that his country's assault on Russia's Kursk region shows that Kremlin threats of retaliation were a bluff. Zelensky said that Ukraine was achieving its objectives. Officials previously said that the objectives include stretching Russian forces, creating a buffer zone in Russian territory, and seeking an end to the war on fair terms. The Ukrainian president has appealed to Western leaders to allow the country's troops to use long-range Storm Shadow missiles to hit Russian territory.
If our partners lifted all the current restrictions on the use of weapons on Russian territory, we would not need to physically enter, particularly the Kursk region, to protect our Ukrainian citizens in the border communities and eliminate Russia's potential for aggression.
Zelensky urged diplomats to organize a second round of peace talks this year, but Kremlin aide has said that Ukraine's incursion had pushed peace talks further away. President Vladimir Putin has demanded Ukraine cede swathes of territory if it wants a ceasefire. Now, on the other hand, Zelensky, who has ruled out direct talks with the Kremlin, demands Russia's full withdrawal from Ukrainian territory, including Crimea and reparations. Ukraine, meanwhile, pushed on into Kursk, bracing for a further assault. Ukraine ordered the evacuation of families from the key city of Pokrovsk as Moscow's forces inched closer to the logistics hub. A Russian military investigator has claimed that a third bridge over the Sem river inside Russia was hit over the weekend. The Russian Defense Ministry said it has thwarted Ukrainian attacks on 3 more villages in the Donetsk region. Moscow said it captured the town of Artemovo, one of the largest Russian gains of recent weeks. Ukrainian artillery fired on a bus stop in the city of Donetsk, which is under Russia's control. Ukraine said Russian attacks killed 4 people in the frontline settlements of Donetsk and Zarishn. On the diplomatic front, seeking to give impetus to a possible settlement, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Ukraine on the 23rd of August.
Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi will undertake an official visit to Ukraine later this week on Friday, 23rd August, at the invitation of President of Ukraine, His Excellency Volodymyr Zelenskyy. This also is a landmark and historic visit, since this will be the first time that an Indian Prime Minister will be visiting Ukraine in more than 30 years since the diplomatic relations were established between our countries.
With Prime Minister Modi set to depart on a visit to Poland and then over to Ukraine, mere weeks after his trip to Russia, our principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibal sends us this report from Warsaw on what to expect from the Prime Minister's visit.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi travels to Poland and Ukraine later this week. This will be a significant visit in terms of engagement with Warsaw and Kyiv. This is the first visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Poland in last 40 years. The last Prime Minister was Morarji Desai in 1979. But the focus also remains on Ukraine, given that the visit comes in the backdrop of Russia-Ukraine war. The war is in its 3rd year, and of course India has emphasized on dialogue and diplomacy, and India has said that a solution cannot come on the battlefield. But all in all, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's presence in Ukraine, in Kyiv, will be seen as a strong show of support to President Zelensky, even as remember that India has a good relationship with Moscow. The Indian Prime Minister was in Moscow just 2 months ago. So all in all, an important visit, a visit that will be closely watched by the international community, but essentially a visit that will help boost ties with Warsaw and show that India continues to extend its humanitarian support to Ukraine. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, Siddhant Sibal for WION in Warsaw, Poland.